Thank you. Jeff, there were a number of questions regarding the comment that you made that posting fees are at least challenged or threatened by the proliferation of additional job boards. If you're a job board today, what other revenue streams should you be looking at other than posting fees to try and augment your income?
That's a great question. Most job boards traditionally have had maybe 2 or 3 revenue streams. So the one that invariably leads, and I think is still the case, is job posting. That typically might make up as much as 80 or 90% of a job board's revenue picture. And then the next piece would be resume access, which for sites that are aggressive about it might make up 30-35% of their total revenue. And then there's what I'd call ancillary employer services. So a good example would be emails to targeted groups of job seekers, providing employer branding, providing various types of spotlight advertising on the site for employers, providing site advertising on the site that's not employment related but is targeting your particular niche. So for example, if you're running a construction job site, you might have site advertising that's selling construction tools to the job seekers, for example. So all of those are possibilities, and then there's some behind-the-scenes revenue that can go on in terms of if a job board wants to be in a part of a network where they're trading candidates, they can get some revenue that way. But I think in terms of trying to make your revenue picture as robust as possible, you have to take, ultimately you have 2 core audiences and 1 ancillary audience in a job site, in my opinion. So you have the job seeker, the candidates, and then you have the employers. And then as sort of a distant third party, you have someone that's interested in one of those 2 groups and wants to reach them through your site. So the way I always approach a revenue picture for any site is to look at those 2 audiences and say, okay, what can I provide and what are they willing to pay for, and sort of break those pieces apart. So if you're in a situation right now where you're a job board and there's 10 other sites and you're all roughly offering the same types of services, then what you need to do is offer something that's more compelling and more effective for employers. And then you have to be able to talk about that. So step 1 is, what's that service? And I mentioned in the presentation just now, I think one would be to position yourself as a social media provider for your employers and basically provide that as a solution, and think through how that would be provided and price it out and then sell it. And the other part is brand yourself. I think one of the biggest shortcomings of the job sites that I've seen out there still is their lack of branding, and it's been shown over and over and over again in multiple industries, and certainly true in our industry, that when you're effective at branding a site, you can charge a premium, and you're more effective at fighting the competition, whether it's inside the industry or outside the industry. And in our own industry, look at Monster. They've been incredibly effective at branding themselves.
Okay, thank you. Jeff, there's been a number of questions regarding mobile applications, and what impact will mobile applications, specifically through the smartphones, have on our industry, and what should the job board response be? Yeah,
and I'm sorry, I should have said this earlier on. I actually sort of left mobile out of this whole discussion because I'm working on a separate survey that's going to focus exclusively on mobile, so I probably have tipped my hand in terms of how important I think that is. I recently wrote in a blog post about mobile's importance to our industry, and it's huge. It's within the next couple of years, there might be as much as 40-50% of the job searching by the candidate being done through a mobile device. And so I think it's absolutely critical if you're a site, that you have an effective and easy to use mobile face, a mobile retail store for your site. Ideally you want something that auto detects, so that if someone comes to your site with a mobile device, or they hit the site through a search engine, when they hit the site, it automatically detects, oh, this is an iPhone, this is an Android, this is a BlackBerry, whatever, and it sends them to an appropriate interface for them. The other thing is to think hard about what the experience is that you're trying to give a mobile user. Typically, a mobile user is not going to spend a lot of time hand entering a resume, or possibly even uploading a resume unless they happen to have it on their phone. They're going to be searching. They're going to be tagging. They're quite possibly going to be sending their search to a desktop machine, or they're going to be saving their search as an alert or some sort of a notification. So those are the features, the functions that you're going to want to highlight. And I have no problem in saying that it's worth your while to seek out someone, a company that specializes in recruiting apps. There's some companies out there that's what they do, is they take recruitment sites, career sites, job boards, and build apps for them.
Okay, thank you. One other question coming up regarding the recession and free online postings. Has the recession created a buying habit where free online recruiting, such as social media or aggregator sites, is more important to the hiring manager than getting real qualified applications?
Well, I think that's maybe a commonly held misconception, and I think this survey pointed that out. That the big issue for hiring people, for HR and recruiting professionals, is the quality of the applicant. There's a bit of a break between when an employer is looking for someone and is under the gun to fill a position or to get the right person, and when an employer is actually in the buying mode of buying a recruitment solution. And I'm sure you've all experienced this, where they're saying, oh, I want to buy this and this, I want the lowest price, and da-da-da-da-da. And they're not necessarily thinking about the most qualified applicant. But they are going to be thinking about the qualified applicant when their position comes open. And that's tough, but that's something that happens in all industries. And I think the only way you can fight that is to be able to go back and show, with information and data and testimonials and referrals, that in fact you are providing those quality candidates and you're worth the premium. Monster charges a premium for what they offer, and they get it. And you can quibble over Monster's results as a hiring professional, but a lot of hiring professionals put their money behind the brand. So,
Jeff, I'm going to ask one more, and then we'll wrap up with some final comments here. But the question is that obviously you've been associated with the job board industry for a long time, and you're a consultant to many job boards around the world. What would you say is the one single biggest mistake that job boards make in terms of their execution or their strategy?
Well, I'm just going to have to say it's more than one. It's really two. I think job boards typically make two big mistakes. One is they forget who their core audience is. I was having this conversation just yesterday with someone, and they said, well, my core audience is the employer. I said, no, your core audience is the job seeker, because if you don't have job seekers, the employers don't care about you. If you don't have the right job seekers, the quality job seekers, the right candidates at the right time, employers really don't care about you. So I think that's the first mistake, and it's an easy mistake to make because, of course, the employers are paying the bill, not the job seekers. I think the second problem, or the second big mistake, is not to brand, not to position, not to delineate yourself as something other than abcjobs.com. People think and live in terms of brands. You know, people remember one or two brands in each category. They're going to remember one or two brands when they go looking for a job, and you need to be one of those brands. It's hard work, but it pays off in the long run.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I do want to apologize to everyone. We got a lot of questions. There's probably 15 or 20 additional questions that we have not been able to get to today. Just to try and keep Jeff's inbox full, if you don't mind, Jeff, your contact information is up on the slide, and I would assume that it's okay for the audience to contact you directly if they would like to follow up on any of your comments today or get some additional information from you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd encourage folks to do that.
So with that, we'll wrap this up. As you sign off today, you'll be given one more poll asking you the topics that you would like to see us cover in future seminars of the Distinguished Leaders Forum from JobGate. So please feel free to fill that in and shoot that back to us. As I mentioned at the beginning, this presentation, all the slides and the audio is recorded and will be on our site within the week. So feel free to come to the JobGate site, the Distinguished Leader Forum section, if you'd like to view the information one more time. Jeff, thanks again for your information today. Thank you for your time. Thanks to all those in all the countries and all the time zones. Have a good day or evening, wherever you happen to be. Thank you very much.